I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up the crew in the area. Still love you like that. Here comes the assortment. I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up the crew in the area. Still love you like that. No, we don't die. Yes, we multiply. Anyone press will hear that, especially in this city. Act like you know a Rico. I know what no, don't know. Watch the man go. Oh. Here comes the assortment. I'm the lyrical gangster. Excuse me, Mr. Officer. Still love you like that. Extraordinary, just like a strawberry. Money to burn, baby. Come on to feel is me, baby. What is she? Come chill with me. I say every time. Cause the assortment. I'm the lyrical gangster. My element be number. Still love you like that. I'm the lyrical gangster. Excuse me, Mr. Officer. Still love you like that. No, we don't die. Yes, we multiply. Anyone can hear that, especially in this city. Act like you know Chico. I know what bow, don't go. Touch them up and go. Oh. Here comes the assortment. I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up the crew in the area. Still love you like that. Here comes the assortment. I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up our crew, oh yeah. Still love you like that. Here comes the assortment. I'm the lyrical danger. Big up the crew in the area. Still love you like that. Here comes the assortment. I'm the lyrical gangster. I'm a living in the danger. Still love you like that.
Okay, Jay, come on in whenever you're ready.
Dude, I just been sitting here. This is the second longest wait over here. Well,
I know that was a
it's
long
actually
one.
much.
I know. I was just messing around,
Yeah.
trying new things and trying to figure shit out. That's all.
When I did Friend Simulator with Matt that one time, I had to sit there and just be silent for like 2 minutes, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, how long is this intro? Like, I've never been on this end of the intro before, just fucking waiting with nothing. And he's like, welcome. And I'm like, fucking finally! I almost wanted to shout it out. All right. Welcome to a brand new episode of Anecdotal Arguments, where we're hot stepping it to the sounds of screaming. Listen, if your friend sets himself on fire, tackle the motherfucker and force him to drop and roll. There's a good chance you're going to get burned, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as the burns of your idiot friend who's running around with gasoline-covered Nikes.
Yeah, rip off your hoodie.
We're boycotting.
Yeah, rip off your hoodie, wrap it around his feet or kick off his shoes. They finally clued into that about 30 seconds later. Yeah. They were trying to put it out with their garbage can shields.
Tackle your friend to the ground and smother it. It's the only way to put out a kerosene or gasoline or fucking petroleum jelly and Vaseline based fire smothering. If you were to throw water on him, it would just cause the water to take up some of the gasoline and puddle, which
yeah, all it's going to do is spread. It's going to be like a grease fire.
Is not helpful. Smothering a fire is the only way. Like, literally, if somebody else is on fire, you have to put your body on the line, preferably your stomach, with your 3 hoodies in 94-degree weather. And just deal with it.
That we're sweating our asses off. Jesus Christ.
That is if you care. If you don't care, you can laugh with the rest of us. But if, like I said, if it's your buddy, then it's a different story.
Hey,
I am your host.
Your response is all I'm saying.
Yeah. If it's your friend, take a 2nd-degree burn to keep him out of like 4th degree with not being able to walk ever again.
But are you really a friend if you don't stop and laugh at your friend? Honestly.
Well, you take care of the emergency and then you call him a dumbass.
Yeah, like save the laughing for after everyone's been bandaged.
Can you believe what a jackass you are?
16 staples in your head. You look like half a fucking Q-tip now. You like what's her name's brother? You're an idiot, Omar. That's who you are.
You got 2 matchsticks for legs that got lit up, buddy.
Oh my God, I miss Richard Pryor, but you really reminded me of him that night. As I said, I am your host, Jay Fry, and with me is Shawn. How is it going, Shawn?
Not bad. I hope everybody's having an awesome commie holiday.
Did you enjoy your 5-minute intro?
I did. Won't be doing that again, but I did enjoy it for what it was worth.
You can start pulling a Matt where you spend at least 2 days putting together your intro music, and then when it doesn't work, you restart the show until it does work because you did spend 2 days on it.
Well, I got to give Matt credit. He does a damn fine job on those audio mixes. For the most
and it's weekly. Like there are what do you call them? Not like perennial, but
periodic.
No, they stay in. The I doubt it. The several different versions of Fuck It, We'll Do It Live that he uses. Yeah. Like there are cornerstones, I guess, for lack of a better term. I can't think of. There's mainstayers that stay, but he does mix it up on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and he does a good job of switching out the music and mixing it up with the music too. So it's not an easy thing to do. I know, I've tried.
Yeah.
Well, he's been on a Michael Jackson streak lately, I think.
Because MJ fucking owns you?
Whatever.
Dude, you can make like a whole career out of just playing MJ and Elvis songs.
I mean, it was cool whenever Corona kicked off and he started it with Disturbed's Get Down with the Sickness. That was top tier.
I'm sure that got demonetized instantly.
Still,
I bet you a lot of. Well, I don't know if the Jackson 5 stuff would get demonetized, but any of MJ's solo career would get instantly demonetized too.
Oh yeah,
and he does a lot of the remixes, not straight up not straight rips off of their shit, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's a story I read in Playboy for the articles. I don't know, like 2-3 decades ago. It's been a while. But anyway, so the story goes, Paul McCartney comes to MJ and says, in English, I wanted to, whatever, to get his catalog was on auction at Columbia or wherever the fuck it's from. And he asked MJ to borrow like $57 million. And Michael Jackson was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great catalog. Here, man, here's your $57 million because I'm your friend and I want you to buy your thing back." And so Paul McCartney tries to buy his catalog for like $250 million. It hits 275. Michael Jackson starts bidding and buys the Beatles' entire album collection for something like $370 million. And at no point does he offer it to Paul McCartney. He's like, "Hey, it was more money than you had. I bought it. It's mine now." So Yellow Submarine is now going to be widely available for any VW dealership that wants to use it. Go fuck yourself. Damn, I wonder when that was. That's probably close to like the year 2000 that I read that. And it wasn't like a poppin' story. It was just an anecdote about having your friends back and then really just screwing them over completely.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Paul McCartney won out in the long run, seeing as he's still breathing. And Sony had MJ killed. So...
You can't just go half in with the conspiracy theories. Paul McCartney died before the Beatles became famous.
Oh yeah, good point.
Mm. But it's still that same person the whole time because that's after the Beatles became famous.
So I think what needs to happen is that if you're going to have a prominent musical career, you need to declare yourself dead first, and then you become the longest surviving member of the band.
Ringo's alive, isn't he? Or not Ringo?
Yeah, Ringo's alive, I think.
Oh yeah. Wait, isn't George Harrison alive?
No, he died a couple years ago.
Oh,
like
so it's just him and Ringo?
Yeah,
No.
John got shot in like 81, and then George Harrison died of like some sort of horrible cancer in the early aughts, I think. But you're right, Ringo is still alive, cashing them checks. Nobody wants to work with him, but he's cashing checks like crazy.
November 29th, 2001. And Ringo Starr, currently alive. Oh, apparently he posted to Twitter 2 days ago. So yeah, he's alive AF, as we like to call it.
Good for him.
Good for him being, alive.
Better than Michael Jackson.
Aww.
Too soon?
Fucking Sony.
I never liked. Well, I can't say I don't like. I don't dislike the Beatles, but I think they're incredibly overrated.
Oh, you're in the Shapiro camp then.
I mean,
I'm now a big fan of the Beatles.
I mean, they're okay, and they're definitely better than the Rolling Stones, but both of those bands are horribly overrated.
I don't know. I don't really have much of an opinion over either of them. I don't really listen to them much. I mean, they're fine, but yeah.
I'm actually with Razorfist on the Michael Jackson did nothing wrong. Not did nothing wrong. He did plenty of stuff wrong. But Michael Jackson had the kind of money where you get to special order children, fuck them, and then have them shipped off to be murdered and disposed of in a timely fashion. You don't go around dicking Macaulay Culkin. Which to this day, Macaulay Culkin admits never happened.
Yeah, so did Corey Feldman.
Oh, fuck Corey Feldman with God, that guy. Have you ever seen Meatballs 4? It's with Corey Feldman.
Meatballs 4. No. The original Meatballs is an all-time classic that everybody needs to watch, but beyond that, no.
You watch your fucking mouth, sir. Meatballs 4 is where it. Yeah. So Meatballs 1 clusterfuck. But thank you, Bill Murray, for showing up when Ivan Reitman called you. 2 became kind of like a sex comedy. 3 was just like shy of Emmanuel type softcore, and 4 was absolutely dirty, dirty, wonderful movies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 2 had an alien in it because it was competing with like Mac and Me because of ET at the time. It's just a weird story. So 3 didn't have an alien anymore, and I'm like, where's the fucking? How do you write a story about kids, which is counselors in training? Have a whole story based around counselors in training, and the name ends up as Meatball. Like at no point are anybody meatballs. No one talks about meatballs. Meatballs aren't served, but the name of the movie becomes Meatballs.
I don't know.
Couldn't
tell you. But I'll tell you that I think that Uncle Buck and The Great Outdoors are better Meatball sequels than the Meatball sequels.
Yeah, they went off in different directions, especially the second one having an alien in it. But yeah, oh man, every time one of the staples of Meatballs that it's kind of like it's not known for it, but it was allowed a lot was riffing and improv. You get that when you hire Bill Murray. Like you literally have no choice. But because the writing was they really weren't set with the writing and allowed for the riffing and the improvisation to take place. And that's something that happened throughout it was kind of like a mainstay of the meatball genre, which is student counselors and kids in summer camp. By 4, Corey Feldman literally has like 3 dance scenes where he is absolutely Michael Jackson.
Well, he thinks he is Michael Jackson at this point. Which, I mean, when you get diddled by Charlie Sheen, I guess your brain kind of goes along with it. Plus, I'm sure, the PCP-laden, blow that he was given in order to numb him up for Charlie Sheen's business probably had a lot to play in that.
I am waiting for Charlie Sheen to come out and be the one who was diddled first.
Oh, well, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm sure his daddy, or his uncle, just
you
kind of
watch your mouth about Joe.
I like Joe, but Joe's not a good actor.
You shut your mouth. Oh my god.
How does Joe get those movie roles? And an amazing amount of them, I might add. How does he get all of that being the least talented Sheen?
He's got some of the best names though for some of his movies, man. We won't get into it, but that is the Corey allegation, which he's got the AIDS already, so who knows how Charlie likes to throw down with the.
To be fair, it was the other Corey that supposedly Charlie diddled. Feldman. No, Helm. No, Haim.
Haim. You know who went crazy just from regular sex that no one ever talks about besides
Rose McGowan.
Richard Grieco.
I haven't heard that guy's name since 21 Jump Street.
No. He had like a hot minute where he had like 7 movies come out, like right after 21 Jump Street. There was one where he was a secret agent. Oh my god, I can't even think of the name of it. But
this is why we need more guests, because this shit gets derailed way too quickly.
Blonde literally, last time I had her on by herself, I had her and Sinatra Says and what's her name? Aiden Paladin. Yeah. Blonde
doxed
literally
her?
said no matter what the topic is, she was going to try to derail the stream.
It is what you do. You do it well.
As of today, all of my internet trolling and shittiness online, still the only death threats I've ever gotten were from Blonde. Very ball
I
intensive.
really cared. So
I still been choking a pizza. Choking a pizza, you fat fuck. Yeah. Oh, I miss Blonde. Okay, I can't wait to see her next month. What do we got? We got we do have stories if anybody wants to get into any stories, or I can tell you about how the Sorority Slaughter franchise is the really first feminist empowerment movement of the 1980s. So pick your poison, and we'll get into that.
Garrick, you better find a story.
well, I want to talk about Clay Higgins, one of our representatives in the House for Louisiana. He apparently put out a Facebook post. Yeah, that's what they put, post. It's not a tweet. Anyway, he was
Facebooking.
Yeah, Facebooking. Yeah, sure, we can go with that. Why not? So he put out a post encouraging people to defend themselves against rioters and to not be afraid of defending yourself. And it was reported on as he was threatening protesters with killing them, with wanting to kill them rather. And even if that's what he said, I'd have been like, you know what? I'm kind of on board. I'm tired of all this bullshit, really, because it's made it to my state. It's about an hour from my house, and that's just a no, a hard fucking pass. And the interesting thing about it is that his post got deleted by Zuckerberg. He got zucked, basically. So he had to repost it, but more politely.
If you would be so inclined, go fuck yourself. Just if it's something you're feeling up to, go fuck yourself.
Self-love is important. You should engage in it.
Eat 2 dicks, please.
Why stop at 2? Have another.
Well,
Have the whole bag.
Yeah. All of the dicks, good sir, for you.
Yeah, I mean, the satchels of Richards are for your convenience. The this is your one of your state senators or congressman?
Congressman, House of Representatives.
So he is in DC.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm sick of it. And
I mean, okay, so to be fair, this guy gained a lot of prominence. Like, he was putting out a lot of commercials before he finally got elected into office. He was prominent. Like, people know his name. You say Clay Higgins in my area of Louisiana, people know exactly who you're talking about, and they sit down and shut up if you have something to say regarding him. Because they are curious, because he's a very prominent fellow. I mean, he served in the sheriff department, I believe it's either that or state police for decades. Dude's decorated cut the ass.
Yeah. I had to look up that story about the Polk County sheriff, who was like, "We like our guns and we use our guns. If you come here, we'll shoot you." Yeah. So in 2006.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. In 2006, at that time Polk County sheriff, when there was a man suspected of killing a police officer, not even a Polk County sheriff, but a police officer, he was shot like 66 times. Yeah, and they asked the sheriff about that. He goes, "You want us to start carrying more ammo?"
Yeah, he had something along those lines. He's like, this was back in 2017, I believe. He was quoted. It's not a quote. It was something to the effect of, here in Louisiana, we're legally allowed to carry guns, and I encourage people to do so. So, he's one of those guys. He's definitely on board with my feelings towards the situation personally. So,
Well, it's a good idea. I mean, there have been BLM protests and demonstrations in every major city across this country. Do you know where there haven't been? Those have not devolved into violent riots. Places like Phoenix, because everybody here is probably armed.
Yeah.
So they don't devolve like that.
Can you imagine the person ends up getting shot by Racer Fist Broom Handle Mauser? Well, it's a graze, but I'm pretty sure you have tetanus.
The ballistics came back, and the reports came back, and it was definitely ancient.
Did you see anybody with a leather-tonged sling, possibly wielding projectiles from a sling? It's pretty old. My when I was in college, I took an archaeology class, and the actual rocks. My professor had a couple of rocks from thousands of years ago, which is stupid because you could go outside and those rocks are still thousands of years old. Like this rock is also thousands of years old. It's a rock. But his rocks had things carved into it, and some of the things carved into those rocks in ancient fucking Babylonian or whatever Sanskrit. Take that.
Black magic, to answer your question real quick. Most states in the country are 16. It's only like 7 or 8 of them that are 17 or 18. Most of them are 16.
Yeah.
For age and consent.
Arkansas was 14 for the longest time, but they moved it up to 16.
Mm-hmm.
Why exactly? Are we talking about the age of consent, though?
I don't know. They brought it up in the chat.
Probably that California bill.
Oh,
God. Yeah.
Fagaloon put forward and the assembly passed.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't remember Scott Wiener, he is the architect of the let's decriminalize giving AIDS intentionally from a felony down to a misdemeanor, because it'll reduce the stigma on AIDS having homosexuals and street workers.
Real quick question: does he have any relation at all to Anthony Weiner?
No, though they're both different kinds of Jews.
Oh, okay. Continue.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I told that because it came out the 14 and 24 bullshit. They like to mention that in ancient times, in ancient Greece, kids without fathers were often paired with a mentor who would have sex with them. It wasn't really sex. They didn't fuck the kids, but they did fuck the kids. But it wasn't sexual intercourse. It was this weird practice they had of like oiling up their thighs and having sex with their legs, which I can't say is really better, but there was no D and the B type stuff going on back then. Take from that what you will, but I owe $63,000 to the University of Michigan because I learned that. So I've got you there, pal.
Or is that just the cleaned up rewrite of a modernly disgusting act?
A little bit of both, but there is literally a vase that shows.
Yeah, I can see that being a thing, but I can also see the other thing being a thing.
I've seen both versions of that being a thing, but I don't know. You're not sticking it in my butt.
No.
I'll tell you the same thing I told my doctor. I will Chaz Boseman out of this bitch.
Oh God, that reminds me.
Oh,
Before I,
that's too soon.
Too soon?
Yeah, just let it.
You know, I thought Roddy Piper died like 4 years before he died. I was watching a movie. It was about an alien invasion in a junkyard, and he was in about 3/4 of the film, and somehow I just thought that he died because he wasn't in the finale. I'm like, oh, Roddy Piper died. the vase is fake news. It's 2,000-year-old fake. It was at the time they were already lying to people. Well, that would explain why Greece does have the view that pedophilia is a disability and is not a criminal act. And this is odd because Tom Hanks recently got a Greek citizenship just shortly after he got COVID. That was air quotes there. You can't see that because I'm not on camera. But, I don't believe he had COVID. I believe he was arrested and charged with something.
They did a real good job of keeping that quiet if they did.
Well, how much of the stuff we're seeing today is not being talked about in the mainstream media? They tried to get off this all this protest violence and whatnot for Trump said mean things about the troops. And
I don't think they succeeded, though. I said they tried. I don't think they succeeded, though. Do you?
Well, they did until that night, and there was brand new stories. Like, that's the problem. I'm a magician. I literally control where people look during magic. Because I'm doing super shady shit, I don't want them looking in certain areas. So I guide them with my hands or my eyes or my words to be looking where I want them to during something. No matter how much I want them to focus with their eyes on my right hand, if you hear it jangling in my left hand,
the jig is up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to look at your left hand. You can't control that. And that's what it was. There was new noises being made. And that is the asshole who set himself on fire.
Hot stepper.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen, like, in movies. Like, I watched Puppet Master 4? No, 5. No, it was 6. The Curse of... anyway, the Curse of the Puppet Master. Gregory Peck is you don't know it's Gregory Peck at the time, but anyways, this guy's pouring gasoline on a box that has a doll in it. The entire time, as the gasoline's being poured out, you know it's water because it splashes all over his shoes. Like, it's just it splashes everywhere, and I'm like, sir, you are about to die from immolation.
And we know this because we've seen it recently.
It's gonna, dude. You're literally covered, like, because he's standing next to the box and it's splashing off the box, and I'm like, I know that's water because, you know, it's going to be a controlled burn, and it's clearly it's not going to be gasoline, but man, did you get that everywhere. Well, like six was a pretty bad Puppet Master. 4 and 5 were basically one movie that got enough filler put in it to make 2 movies. But oh, excuse me, 1, 2, 3. Hey, there's fucking 11, and the last 3 are all about Nazis. So, you know, enjoy them at your own peril, white man. Yeah. Does anybody know the story of what happened with this gender reveal?
Oh, other than it started a major fire in the San Bernardino area, no.
Like, do we know if it was like a baby?
Well,
Or
we know it's a baby, but we don't know if it's a boy or a girl.
no, we know it was a baby. This wasn't like a 26-year-old gender reveal.
Oh, I don't know. I'm assuming that it's an actual baby.
What was Colin Colin from whose line is it anyway?
Mockery.
Colin Mockery with oh my god, that guy looks so sad at his kid's gender reveal. Oh, Jesus, that poor man.
Yeah, his own son made a mockery.
Oh, double.
Come on, it's right there. It wrote itself.
Oh, you made a mockery when you made that boy. Whatever happened to like pulling a string and balloons pop out? What do you need fucking pyrotechnics for?
I guess that it was supposed to blow whatever color smoke, but when you do that, in order to generate said smoke, you got to light something on fire, and they decided to light the entire mountain on fire.
Not necessarily. You can just heat something up and actually start the flame, but we're not going to talk about that.
A few years ago, there was a fire and it killed like 7, and it was because somebody pulled off and their catalytic converter just caught the grass on fire.
That'll happen. That happens out here quite a bit. Luckily, it's a desert and there isn't a whole lot on the edge of the roads because, dirt is harder to burn. But sometimes there's weeds that they catch.
Well, yeah, especially in California. That's the home of viral outbreaks and contagions.
Well, they probably also don't do much forestry or maintenance of said forests, so they're literal tinderboxes.
Plus, they've got that eucalyptus maturing, and that is
a really dry tree covered in oil.
Highly combustible. Highly combustible. And it has been since like 1997. Like they shipped them in as little saplings, and they get really fiery as the state of hell on earth known as Australia has recently had its own bout of burning alive.
Yeah, that was last year. That's old news.
No, it's not, dude. It was like February.
That's still their summer.
Yeah, that's still this year. This happened in 2020.
All right, then.
You wonder if the Mayans just transferred the numbers, and instead of 2012, it was supposed to be 2021.
God, I hope not.
It's like I'm just waiting for Godzilla and King Kong to whip out and fight in my. Maynard Crowe is siding with the West Baptist Church, apparently, so that's good for him.
I think California hates California.
They have the plague. Yeah. The plague is back because of the homeless people.
Yeah, well, I mean we have that here in Arizona too.
The homeless people or the plague?
The plague. We have homeless people too, but they typically don't have the plague. But there is plague in Arizona.
Yeah, but isn't it carried by like the prairie dogs or some bullshit? It's like on the wildlife.
I know it's up on the Indian reservation. So
plague were fleas from rats.
Yeah, well, it's from fleas.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess prairie dogs can have fleas.
The prairie dogs and the rats and all the vermin get bit by the fleas, and they do have plague, but I don't think it affects them like it affects humans. So they become carriers, and then anybody in the general vicinity that then gets summarily bit by a flea also contracts the plague.
And it's 2020, so when you get infected with something, the first thing you do is fucking travel. Never seen so many people buy flights in my life.
Yeah, dude. I mean that I took a trip back at the end of May, and the travel restrictions, social distancing, it's all a fucking lie. They packed that tube full of so many goddamn people, it's insane.
Yeah. Too bad the prices aren't still cheap. I'm heading out to Montana in October for a wedding, and I'd 25-hour drive is not something I want to take part in. Like going inch by inch across my map, looking for at any point am I crossing a Martin Luther King Boulevard, because I'm going to take a side street if I have to.
Just avoid all civilization, basically. Which is, you're lucky there isn't a whole lot out there once you get past the river. So,
Well, I'm thinking all highways, but these fucking people stand on highways. Just pay that extra $20 a day for like their insurance. Like, this is a rental car. I can and will hit you.
rent the what was that? The one that hit the guy or the two chicks in Seattle? I think it was Seattle.
That was a Jaguar. That was a
Jag. Yeah, rent the Jag.
I can't.
Make it a good solid hit.
I can't afford that. I'm not an immigrant.
Why not get the Rolls Royce, the one that can actually mow him down?
Like, this is the Phantom. It has a jet engine. Don't fuck around. You will find out.
It'll suck you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past California to try to deal with their homeless population by literally killing them with the plague.
Dude, have you ever looked up a poop map?
It solve itself in the end to them.
Have you looked up the poop map?
In San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
You got to zoom in to see any distinction. Otherwise, it's just one big pile.
Poo. It's a poo dot. I mean, it's got jagged edges, but it's a poo dot. Tim Pool did a video the other day where he talked about the fact that there are no left-wing terrorist events recorded by the ADL. And I instantly went on my phone to check, and he was right. I went to show somebody it yesterday, and surprise, surprise, it's by no means accurate, but they started putting in left-wing. They also removed. What did they remove? They removed. Violent encounters. So now it's murders, white supremacists. So basically, it's now only like 3 of the 5 categories. Like, one's hate crime, so you can't get a hate crime. A left-winger can't produce hate crimes for some reason. Islamic terror, which also left-wingers can't do. And then it's three versions of white supremacies. No, Tim Pool called out the ADL for not having any left-wing terrorist events at all in like a 5-year period. Like from 2015 to 2020, there's none, when we know that shit's gone down in several states over the last couple of 102 days, I guess. Is that where we're at now? So he called them out, and they cocked and put in.
I don't know that they cocked. That they probably wouldn't see it that way. They probably just think, well, let's make Tim a liar.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Is they're not doing it because they feel they need to. They're doing it to make him a liar.
Yeah.
And expect that announcement soon.
Yeah, like all these cops out here perpetuating these black cops out here perpetuating white supremacy.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna release a statement or something like that saying Tim Pool said that we don't have blah 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 blah. They'll leave the date off, and then say, well, if you go look at our site, we definitely do. Therefore, Tim is a liar.
And they already tried it.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, it's just the normal shit that they do. They have yet to catch on to the fact, and Tim Pool said this too, where when Hillary was campaigning for what it was in 2016, she went to the South and put on a fake Southern accent, and she would go to the North and put on a New Yorker accent or a cosmopolitan accent or whatever. And he rightfully pointed.
Hold up. You're telling me that the white woman who was getting interviewed by a black woman and stated she carried hot sauce in her purse was faking?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, but I mean, the whole point is that they're so used to doing this bullshit and telling these lies that nobody ever checks up on. They're not hip to the fact that anybody that's paying attention, and they bank on you not paying attention. Don't get me wrong. They still know the vast majority of people don't pay attention at all. But they still haven't caught on to the fact that the internet has changed that because it has timestamps and it has the ability to go back and verify shit that they say.
Only somewhat. I would say about 10% of the population is in tune with kind of what we do, like tops. And it takes a long time to reach the full 10%. There's still a lot of people who are sheep. There's still a lot of people who care.
Your number's off.
How so?
Well, for starters, we're talking, let's say 80 to, we'll call it 15. All right. So you got those 65 years. Anyone under basically Shawn's age is computer savvy for the most part.
Mildly.
They know how to operate one with with efficiency. Yes, because they've done it their entire lives, literally their entire lives.
Now, my grandpa was a huge fan of all technologies. Like, he had shit he would never need, but because it was a new technology, like, Grandpa, what are you going to do with an opaque projector? Like, have you ever wanted to show somebody a page in a book and they were too far away to actually look at the page? So you want to blast it on the freaking living room wall? What are you going to do with an opaque projector? But we had one for some reason. But we used we didn't have a Commodore 64, but we had some computers that ran off PDOC's Run, which is the tree platform before Windows, which wasn't a hard thing, but you had to call up like directories beforehand, and it was a hit or miss whether you had to add the /W to make the directory wide so you could see the whole directory. But Windows really is a godsend in the computer age.
Hell, that's even old now. I mean, now there's kids that don't know how to use Windows until they get into the work environment because they haven't really ever had to. They've done everything on their phone.
Yeah, on tablets, which is even less. There's no trees involved in your.
Well, there are, but they're all hidden behind graphics, so they just click what they want and get served what they want.
Yeah, they don't understand what the A drive versus the C drive and a D drive.
Well, that's what I was about to get to, man. If you really want to get a blank stare from these kids, have them hop on DDoS. It's like, what the hell?
Well, not only that, but they don't know what the save icon represents.
Yeah.
Oh, floppy drive.
I mean, to this day, if I want someone to roll down their window, I still do the circular roll down. I mean, I don't think pointing down is ever gonna pass.
My stepson, who's now 19, when I first started dating his mom, he was like 8, and I had a truck that had manual windows, and he's like, and he got in, and I had to take him somewhere, and he's like, "Well, I want to roll down the window. I can't figure out how to roll down the window." I'm like, "Look at the handle." It's like, "What handle?"
Roll down.
He literally at 8 years old did, and 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, didn't know how to roll down a window. He also didn't know that you had to rewind VCR tapes.
Oh yeah.
He's an adult.
Okay,
He is an adult now.
Let me take that back. You didn't have to rewind cassette tapes. You flipped them over, and they worked again. But you get the other side of them.
Video cassettes.
Yeah. No.
Video cassettes.
No, not video. Radio, or
we're talking video cassette, not a CD or a
not a tape, not an audio tape.
There you go.
Not a tape cassette. Video cassette. Be kind, rewind.
Oh, I'll tell you how.
To this day, I have never seen.
Aunt and uncle were. They would rent movies because they had such a prolific. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? They did it so damn often that what they did was they bought a dedicated VCR rewinding machine. So
Yeah, those were common.
Really.
I've never seen. They were very, very common because what you would do is you would rent a stack of movies. Mm-hmm. You would watch one, and then instead of rewinding it in the VCR, which took 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how fast it was, you would take that tape out, put it in the rewinder, and pop in the next tape and continue watching.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what they were guilty of for sure. Anyway.
And they were like $20. It wasn't a huge outlay of cash. VCRs were $20. I mean, it wasn't a huge.
Let's be fair though. $20 then versus $20 today is a big difference.
Well, there's a difference. It's not huge. It's like $35 today.
Okay,
maybe 40.
But it's still the concept of a $20 is still $20. Like
Walkmans were $20.
Yeah, you don't break a 50. Everything was $20 back then.
Yeah, most cheap consumer electronics were about $20.
Yeah. You can buy a toaster oven for $20, and they're probably closer to 35, 40 now.
And they lasted longer than the cheap bullshit you buy at Walmart today.
Mm. Yeah, they did. We had the TV on top of the big TV. You can't do that now. There's no balancing on top of a flat screen.
Do you remember in the 80s movies where the big techno thing was is they'd have like a pyramid of TVs and all of them would work? And that was like futuristic and shit.
Yeah, that's not how that worked.
No, it did.
Yeah.
You could do that. I mean, a lot of people had several TVs on top of each other, like Jay said. That wasn't uncommon either.
Well, I mean, a TV on top of a TV. Like literally the TV you own, your first TV, or like the base TV, was like maybe 24 inches wide, but the platform itself was like 50 inches.
Yeah, they were actual furniture.
There was a speaker next to it, and there was a whole thing.
And it was a beautiful thing to see. It was like the old school radios, if you think back to the transistors.
My grandpa bought one from a yard sale that was maybe 6 feet wide, and it had a TV in it, a record player, a speaker, and a storage for
LPs.
for your LPs. And the TV itself was like 13 inches across.
That was the quote-unquote entertainment center.
Yeah, and it was a tiny little TV. But you know, the major thing about Bonanza was it was the first. It sold color TVs because Bonanza was the first TV show in color.
And they continued to make black and white TV for several years, even after that.
Yeah, but it was the lead cause of spreading color TVs. And something crazy, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D put 3D projectors into movie theaters for the first time. Absolute shit show, and one of the shittier Friday the 13th, but it was a game changer. Fuck you, Friday the 13th, Part 3.
You still needed the red-blue glasses for that, though.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I'm calling bullshit because there was plenty of 3D movies back in the 50s.
Well, Michael Jackson experience in Disney World was 3D, but you needed the glasses. But that was a dedicated freaking platform there. Yeah, you can't watch a 3D movie without 3D glasses because things coming at you are color coded differently. It's not at all remotely 3D by any stretch of the imagination, and nothing's ever actually coming out at you. But the color scheme of the blues, the reds, and the greens, primary colors, were corresponded to different parts of the color system that fucked with your. It's the reason you had one red and one blue. What fucking plastic lens or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, they were like cellophane. They were really cheap.
Yeah, cellophane. Thank you. Unfortunately, it really sucks if you wear glasses.
Yes, it does.
But in like 2000, mid 2000s, late 2000s, the glasses had a completely different tint to them.
No, they weren't even red and blue. They were like just polarized, so that when the polarized portion of the film came up, it would jump out.
Yeah, which still sucked if you wore glasses like I do.
I only saw one movie that way, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. But I just remember leaving with a really bad headache.
That's Maynard says the Friday the 13th Part 6 is the best one. There's a big group of people who argue that 6 is the best one, and Tommy Jarvis was one of the more interesting characters of the 12th film genre. I actually am a big fan of the remake.
No, the first one is the best because it has bacon.
It had Pamela.
Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon is in the first one.
Well, first one had Kevin Bacon. First Nightmare on Elm Street had Johnny Depp. No one really for the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I can think of, but the first Halloween had
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how all of these actors of cheap horror movies weren't famous until they did the cheap horror movie.
Well, I mean,
Jamie Lee Curtis was famous because of her parents, but she wasn't herself famous yet.
well, but these movies were introductions. Like it was introducing Johnny Depp.
Was it though?
Yeah, it literally introducing Johnny Depp. I don't know about Kevin Bacon, but
No, I mean he was just an actor that was in it, and then somehow he took off.
But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street introduced Johnny Depp, and Heather Langenkamp, but she decided she wanted to go a different route, and she married a special effects guy.
Was Meatballs Bill Murray's first movie?
Yes, but he was doing Saturday Night Live at the time.
Fair point.
It was in between his first and second season. He didn't want to film Meatballs, even though Ivan Reitman was making a suggestion of it. But he wanted to play baseball for the summer before he came back to do Saturday Night Live. And his lawyer called him up after they filmed like the first 2 days without Bill Murray. And Ivan Reitman's like, "We're going to get Bill Murray, don't you worry." And then day 3, like he got there, and they started filming with him in the clothes he drove down in.
I can believe that.
Yeah, which if you, I recently watched the exploring the behind the scenes of Meatballs, and it was jogger shorts from the era, and a long sleeve Hawaiian shirt that had the sleeves rolled up. I'm like, that is a terrible outfit.
But quintessentially Bill Murray.
Oh yeah. He was never known for his wardrobe. I like, a lot of people give shit to Friday the 13th Part 5. I will not shit on a creative risk being taken. It like the idea of having a different killer. The kills were all great. Friday the 13th has this weird habit of the first 2 kills being off screen, like below camera angle, and I don't know why. But it usually starts with 2 kills and then a title card and then the movie. I don't know why it does it like that, but when you like, I really enjoy Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. I think it's a good movie. I think it's one of the better Halloween movies. But I'm not going to gatekeep and give shit to somebody trying something new. I enjoyed Part 5. It's one of my more favorite Friday the 13th movies. And I not only love Kane Hodder, I've talked to Kane Hodder and had social interactions with Kane Hodder. Worst Jason of the group. His Jason movies, besides for 6, but 7, 8, and 9, the worst in the series. 8 by far to me is the worst Friday the 13th of the bunch. And that's including 3. I agree with Maynard there. Oh, Season of the Witch is unironically the best one. Plus, I fucking love that guy, Tom.
Bodette.
I'll knock your lights out for you. Yeah, I will not leave one on. Tom Bodette. No, Tom.
Now you're stuck. Now you won't get it because I said Bodette.
Yeah. Leave the light on for you. Son of a bitch.
All right, did you guys have another story to talk about? Since we got derailed again.
Give me a goddamn minute. I gotta think of Tom's last name. I love anything with him or John Saxon in it.
Okay, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you 5 minutes to think about it, and Shawn can cover a story.
Yeah, Sean can cover a story. I'm just going to IMDb fucking.
I don't really have a story. It's just more of a concept.
Go
The 80s and even the 90s were full of optimism. And we have spent the last 20 years in a general malaise or depression. Not economic depression, but just like mentality depression. And I'm wondering what's going to restore that sense of optimism that the culture had in the 80s and 90s.
Atkins, fuck all of you. Tom Atkins.
I would think that the optimism of the 80s and 90s was the final culmination of, well, part of it was the wall falling and the what is it? What am I trying to think of?
The collapse of the Soviet Union?
No. Not so much that, but like mutual self-destruction.
Oh, mutual assured destruction?
There you go. That kind of went by the wayside. So that kind of relieves the tension.
Okay, so as a child of the late 70s and 80s, I can tell you that didn't alleviate till I was already out of high school, because it wasn't until I was almost done with high school
Dude,
the Berlin Wall came down.
After the wall fell. So I really don't know what you're talking about. So
I appreciate your guess, but I can tell you for certain that in the late 70s and 80s, we were terrified of the Cold War turning hot and there being a thermonuclear war. But the society, American society, was still very optimistic when it came to our entertainment and our general approach to life. And we have seemed to have lost that in the last 20 years. I mean, we went through what was mutually assured destruction if things went badly with the Soviet Union, to the wall falling, the Soviet Union starting to collapse, but that's when gangster rap was a big thing, and there was a lot of violent crime in the late 80s and early 90s. So, I mean, despite all of those things, the general mood of the population was very upbeat, very optimistic in what the future would hold. And we have lost that in the last 20 years. So I'm curious as to what's going to change that back to a renewed sense of optimism.
Well, the thing that I keep hearing from Jeremy Boring is SpaceX and the exploration of space and going to Mars and that prospect and a few other things.
I would hope so, but it's not getting the press like we got. Okay, so in the late 70s, we did the whole Voyager missions. We had just come off the moon landing in the late 60s, and then we had several more trips to the moon in the early 70s. And then
allegedly.
And then we did the Voyager stuff, and then we developed the space shuttle. And space shuttle launches were a huge deal. I remember in 6th grade, they wheeled in so we could watch the space shuttle launch, because so far all of them had gone off without a hitch, and it was an awesome thing to behold. So they showed it to us live in 6th grade, and we watched the Challenger explode right in front of our little child eyes.
That'll damage a kid.
Yeah, it was. But even despite that tragedy, it was still optimistic. And once we figured out what was wrong with them, there was like a 2-year hiatus that we started throwing the space shuttles back up. It didn't. It slowed us down, but it didn't stop us. It didn't bring us to a screeching halt. And everybody was still optimistic. And we just don't have that anymore.
I blame Al Gore and him inventing the internet.
Well, all right, so there's a thing too. I mean, we still innovate, but we innovate less or more myopically than we used to innovate. The computer technology we have in our pockets and on our desks is absolutely amazing. But that's been our entirety of innovation in the last 20 years. I haven't seen
This is going back to, so do you remember who was Bill Whittle did the podcast about, he did both the Cold War and the space race. And the thing that he pointed out that I thought was profound to me was the way that engineers used to make toys. They used to be also the guys who were basically the dropouts of aerospace engineering. So you had a lot of toys that were like the pop cap guns, and they were all like mechanical devices. They were things you held in your hand and you did things with. That's turned abstract with computers, and not everybody's kind of on board with it. You have to have a particular mindset to be able to grasp the possibilities that are getting done today, and it leaves a lot of people behind. And that, I think, is a big problem. See, back in the day when you had like long darts and science experiment, like genuine, like make your own little rocket and launch it with a little pump. Those were things that people could physically do. Now it's sit inside, look at a screen, and code something or play a game or whatever it may be. It's less physically interactive, if you know what I mean, or physically engaging.
Yes, I mean I would agree with that to a point, but I think it's come down to we don't let kids suffer the consequences of their actions. With lawn darts and manual rockets,
yeah,
you would learn a lesson really goddamn fast if you fucked it up.
If it blew up in your face, it wasn't fun anymore. For sure.
I mean, I remember as a kid, there were chemistry kits that would have radioactive material in them.
Yeah, God.
Now, it wasn't as bad as
I carry radioactive shit on me all.
No, it wasn't iridium or plutonium or anything like that. It
Right.
was very, very mild.
Well,
But
I mean,
still.
technically a banana's radioactive, so I mean,
Yeah. You can go up to a microwave while it's running, and that's radioactive.
but yeah, and your iridium, dot sites don't count, Jay, unless you're licking them for some reason.
I mean, well,
Trinium. And my watch is also tritium, and so is my compass.
but
Yeah, we're
of it, Shawn. I understand what you're saying.
we're not engaging physically or mentally in this.
Well, I look at my boys going through school and how restrictive it is. Now, my sons have issues. One's incredibly hyperactive, so calming him down is most of his day anyway. But yeah, they're not given the same opportunities I was to go just run out into the woods and be a boy.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a story about my grandparents and how they raised my parents, or my mom at least, and her brothers and sisters. They would literally just put them on horseback and slap the horse on the ass and say, "You better be back before dark, or we'll beat the shit out of you when you get back." And that was their life. It's like, you go get lost and you do things. It's not the same anymore. That people are scared shitless, and I think that's the problem. They don't.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe we've cultivated a culture of fear. I mean, COVID's a perfect example of it. All these goddamn sheep
Dude.
scared of the goddamn flu.
If you want to put a fucking hammer on the nail, that is it right there. People can't accept they can't go through it unless nobody dies. It's like, no, that's not how reality works. People die every day for a myriad of reasons. Get the fuck over it and take a risk and be the best version of yourself, despite the fact that fear is in some cases valid, but not always necessarily warranted.
Safety third.
What's second?
Well, it's Mike Rowe's concept of why we're failing behind the way we are, is the idea of safety first is holding people back from actually doing what needs to be done.
I can kind of agree with that, because if you want to look at the reason that all these police shootings are always cited to be, it's officer safety. So if we do put safety not first but third, like you said, maybe we wouldn't have as many police shootings, and maybe we would have a better outcome.
So you're saying it's possible to have a social interaction with the police and not necessarily a violent one?
Yes, or that instead of training the police to shoot to preserve their safety, they come up with their own innovative techniques to make sure that they don't get shot.
There you go. That sounds like a plan to me.
Which, speaking of the police, and I thought about this, I was actually on my trip and I was going to come back and I was going to make a video about how cops were picking the low-hanging fruit and being the laziest sons of bitches on the planet before the George Floyd thing blew up, but it blew up while I was conceiving of this idea. But if we take it away from American cops and put it onto the British cops and the Australian cops, look at what they're doing. They are going after the most vulnerable, the softest targets they can possibly go after to make examples of them, rather than doing the actual hard work of policing.
Wait, now, to be fair, oh no, she was a small woman, and then there was the pregnant. Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
And then you couple that with the subway video of that guy in the UK who was not wearing a mask, telling the officer to fuck off, and then the officer escalates and turns it into a violent conflict. Knowing full well that there's nothing that's going to happen to him, Yet somehow the guy not wearing a mask is a bigger threat than the officer actually enacting physical violence upon a citizen. And then you get the public cheering that bullshit. There was a large segment of the population in Australia that cheered the cops going after this pregnant woman for daring to put a Facebook post up saying, "Hey, maybe we should stand up for our rights."
Okay, I think another problem that we've run into is the cuckoo's one flew over the cuckoo's nest problem, which introduced the idea that people who were mentally ill weren't mentally ill; they were just eccentric people. Which, I mean, maybe not. It's based on individual circumstances, but I think getting rid of the mental health system that we originally had, the psychiatric wards and things like that. There's two reasons to remove a person from.
Well, hang on. I got a thought on that. Go ahead, Rags.
But there's two main reasons to remove a person from society. One is that they can't mentally fulfill the societal contract that is expected of them, so you put them in a psychiatric ward. The other is that they willfully violate it, in which you put them in prison. Now, we've gotten rid of one of them, and we're trying to get rid of the other.
Well,
and man, that's not good.
So if you want to know what abolishing the police looks like when it's done, it's going to look exactly the same as abolishing the mental health facilities we had. Now, the mental health facilities we had were in definite need of severe reforms. They were doing horrendous shit to these people that were incarcerated in the mental health institutions.
I am not denying that. You're right.
They were doing horrible shit to people that were not mentally capable of coping or dealing with what was happening to them in the names of quote-unquote enlightened science trying to affect a cure, supposedly, for these people. So the same thing is going to happen if we abolish the police. It's just going to exacerbate underlying issues. Yes, the police need reform. They definitely do. They need to be demilitarized, and something needs to change with them. But getting rid of them wholesale is going to be just as detrimental, if not worse, than it was when we closed the mental institutions.
Can't say you're wrong.
Bring back
it is going to get worse. Just let nature take its course. That's what you're getting at, Jake?
To a greater or lesser extent, we do need mental health reform. That is a huge deal, and that way we can lock up most of these lefties. Because I'm sorry if there are. So Tim Pool covered a story because I've been watching Tim Pool lately. I don't know why, but
because he
it was a master's
pool of red pills.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you like Trump? I'll give you a shot. Let's see how it works. I like Trump too. I don't love Trump. Calm down, you fucking fanatics. But I enjoy the hell out of some Trump speeches. There is a professor who pointed out that when you're stalling for time, you say things like and that and like, and I have a friend whose filler is always, you know what I'm saying? And I hate that because it's so much of a filler. But we have filler words, and in Mandarin, the filler word is that. And in Mandarin, that translates to nega. So they use nega as their filler. When they're looking at what they're going to order, they say, do you have anything that's like it's got like 3 layers of cheese and meat in between it, like something like that. So they've repeatedly said that, which is nega. There was a complaint lodged by several black students that term affected their mental health.
Stop right there. How do you know that the people actually making the complaint were black?
Because this was written up as a complaint.
Okay.
So somebody had to talk.
Somebody complained. Do we know the racial component of the person who actually complained?
Several black students.
Okay, so that was verified as being several black students that complained, not several I'm offended for somebody else white kids.
Yes, several black students complained.
Okay. I had it in my head that it was probably a bunch of social justice warriors looking for virtue points, think they got a gotcha moment, and were just being ultra-white liberals and making a complaint for somebody else who may or may not have been offended.
No, there was even a discussion with a student who was of Chinese descent, who claimed that his accent was wrong and it sounds nothing like that. Like actually, the article went in depth.
Okay.
But yeah, on behalf of POCs, that wouldn't surprise me if that was the initial complaint. But as time went on, the complaint was validated by the mental health of students seeking a master's degree.
Yeah, these kids need to harden the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My nephew, so he is 20 years younger than I am. So basically, when I started learning to drive, in like driver's ed, he was just a few years away from being born. He is now 18, turning 19, and is scared to death to drive a car. I was like, dude, that's freedom. That's how you get away from everything.
They don't need it anymore. That's something I learned with my stepkids. My stepkids didn't get their licenses until they were older than 18. Well, I take that back. My stepson got his when he was 17. But that's because he was living an hour away and we never saw him. But, yeah, I mean, they just have there isn't the same impetus for that generation and younger to get the license because they can do social interaction by not leaving the house.
Without taking risk, you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't even think they associate it with risk. They just, when I was that age, it was like, yeah, I need to get out of here so I can go hang out with my buddies and do stupid shit with my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid shit that my parents don't need to know about. Well, now all of that stupid shit is taking place online, and the parents don't know about it because they're not really monitoring the social interactions that their kids have online. That's why there's online quote-unquote bullying, and the kids aren't smart enough to just turn it off. Because that's the social interaction. So the real-life bullying that we would get when we were out with our buddies doing stupid shit, they're getting online, and they think that they don't understand that they can just click and turn it off, and they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, but because it's not the same social interaction that the human race is really used to, we're just interacting through text messages, which is
right. I mean, and long gone are the days when you got put in your place for jaw jacking to the wrong person and get your dick knocked in the dirt.
Right. Well, that's one thing is that there's no physical presence, so you don't have that intimidation. And number two, it opens up avenues and closes others. So you can't do a one-to-one comparison. It's like as a species, we've come up in such a way that people have to physically, socially interact. If you don't, we don't know what's going to happen. This is somewhat unprecedented for people to communicate, so readily through.
Oh, I think we know exactly what happens. I think this year is a textbook clinical case of what happens when you prevent society from physically interacting with each other.
Well, we still haven't seen what's going to be the ultimate outcome of it, though, either. Like, we still don't know what's going to happen next year.
Dude, the immediate outcome was...
We know
the immediate outcome was the unleashing of violence and horrible dissent as soon as it became available to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like I was listening to somebody the other day. It's like, it's disappointing now that it used to be before COVID, who wore masks?
Chinese people and Japanese people.
Yeah.
No.
Criminals that are responsible
in America, who wore masks? Criminals.
Oh,
doctors.
Now it's somebody who is socially considered virtuous?
Batman.
Superheroes, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
Yeah,
cops
they
did too.
inflict on their heads.
Make no mistake about that. The cops have been doing the balaclava bullshit since the 90s.
True.
imagine thinking that you have to be in a marked police car to arrest somebody. Like, that's weird.
I said,
you
Kyle,
do have to identify yourself. So it's either uniform or shirt, or a smart suit, but you've got your badge visible. That was the paradigm before. Now it's full tactical. Yeah, well, now it's full tactical gear, and you don't know for certain in a fast second what's going on.
So what we really need to do is just encourage people to stand up for themselves and be self-sufficient and proficient in self-defense. And
I wanted to say something about.
Don't put up with anybody's shit. You fucking put them in the ground if it gets violent.
I wanted to say some shit about tactical gear, but I'm looking at my LBE and my helmet and going, maybe I shouldn't say nothing about tactical gear.
Well, and that brings up the multitude of videos you see of the British cops and their complete ineptitude physically, for the most part. I mean, they do have their special units that are just as good as our guys, for certain. But for the most part, the General Bobby, the General Cop, is so inadequate in Britain. I don't understand why they don't regularly just get their asses kicked.
They do. That's why they have to be 13-on-1. Like, they have entire precincts full of hooks from police academy. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, pretty much. But what was her equalizer? A gun and a stern voice. That was her equalizer in those movies. It just took her a long time to get there. But of all the cops that I know, I don't know a single one that hasn't almost immediately on their duties as a cop got into a physical altercation here in the States. Some are better at it than others, but physicality happens here. And from the videos I see out of the UK, I'm thinking that these perps need to actually lay down their own law on these cops, because most of the people I see in those videos have no business putting on a uniform.
I see those videos and I'm like, how do they deal with soccer hooligans?
Yeah, really.
It's a soccer stadium or ups. How many of you could there possibly be to take down a soccer hooligan? The guy in that video was 57 years old. Well, he was 1 week away from retirement before he maced that.
I'm too old for this shit. Yeah. I would have given him more respect if that had actually come out of his mouth.
Get him, Murtaugh.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of American cops, big strapping young men, getting their asses kicked by a perp, getting 2 or 3 of their asses kicked by a perp before the 4th or 5th cop finally piles on and subdues the perp. So I don't understand how these British cops get along. I really don't get it.
Eric Gardner was 6'5" and 400 pounds, and he had the smallest fucking police force on him that I've ever seen.
3 of them.
Yeah, but they were all 5'7" and under.
Yeah, they were short dudes. Well, again, that's the psychological profile of the people who become cops in America is probably vastly different than it is in Britain and or Australia. We are the cops unions here and the powers that be are psychologically profiling for a more aggressive person here for certain.
Word. Yeah. I don't know when it started, but I mean, just picture this, Rags. You're doing your day, your classwork, and the air raid siren goes off, and your responsibility for a nuclear threat to your area is to hide under your desk. the desk you've been placing bubblegum on all year, on the bottom of. That is how you save yourself from Judgment Day.
Duck and cover.
Duck and cover on a desk that if the teacher sat on it, it would break in half. And that's how we were until like 89.
I got in trouble for running toward a leeward wall.
Well, yeah, you should have just buckled up next to the glass and kissed your ass goodbye. Sarah Connored across the fence. That would have been fun.
Yet somehow doesn't let go of the fence.
Well, I'm assuming like there's a reason you touch a door handle with the back of your hand. So that kind of actually makes sense. Same thing with electrical panels. You touch it with the back of your hand because there's a tendency to grip. Fire's the same thing, apparently.
Speaking of tactical, Jay, check out Gun Club real quick.
Dude, I'm not switching over.
You're not doing it? Come on, buddy.
I'm not switching over till after this because I have a habit of getting kicked off of Hangouts.
Well, Shawn, can you screen share for him or something?
It is not possible to be visible and invisible at the same time. It is a troop of what looks like a military regiment in full camo, wearing safety vests.
And they look to be some sort of Europeanish, Slavic something. Who knows?
They're German.
They're German? Oh. No, I'm disappointed in Germany.
Well, who isn't? They lost at colonialism, and then they lost at 2 world wars. They kind of suck.
Not to say they didn't try, though. At least they had balls for a while.
I've seen kitted out guys in the military with PE vests or PT belts on. They're high visibility life saving vests or belts.
Yeah, these are full blown vests, but it does absolutely undo the purpose of camouflage.
Yeah.
You can't buy the plates, Mike Hawk, but you can definitely buy the big Velcro patch aftermarket.
You can buy a plate that has nothing on it and a 4-inch sticker, a 4-inch tall word that said police on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the police only get, what is it, Schedule 1 trauma plates for the most part. I mean, I guess they have access to the better shit, but regularly all they're rolling with is 1 trauma plate.
Yeah.
I have class 3 HEs, and I'm like, I don't know what HE means, but I'm going to say it's high explosives. I have no idea what HE means. Class 3 HE. I'm hoping it's high energy, but
I would have guessed that would be high energy.
Mm-hmm.
But like no high, it's fairly explosive.
I mean, I'm sure it'll withstand an explosion, but I don't know how it's going to save you.
Pay attention. I'm only going to do this once. Yeah, I did the math on it, and it's like, I'm not carrying ceramic because this shit's heavy, and I'm going to drop it. So I will take steel.
Okay, so it must be high energy because level 3 is the first level of armor that protects against rifle rounds.
Yeah. Which is only up to 308. Then you get to level 3 plus, which is up to 30-06 in some Magnum rounds, but not all. And then I guess what HE is all of them.
So yeah, vests must be able to withstand 6 shots from 7.62 by 51.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have 3 plus HE. Does it really mean high energy? Because I know what
This doesn't say. Let me see.
when I went to look it up, it didn't say either. I'm like, what's HE mean?
Which, to quote one guy from a while back that I watched his videos, like, if you get a shot enough times that your plate is no longer usable with the anti-spalling coating, if it's ruined, what the fuck were you doing to get shot at that many fucking times?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and like if you're buying a plate that doesn't have anti-spalling, get the fuck out of here.
Noob.
It's got to be high energy.
I couldn't find it anywhere, dude. So
Yeah, no, I can't find an actual statement that that's what it stands for, but that's got to be what it is, because I would imagine that that's what the classification for rifle rounds is high energy.
Yeah, well, I tried to look it up when I bought the plates, which, by the way, looks stupid on me. First off, I have a long torso, so the plate on me anyways looks dumb because I'm currently 6'3". I will be shrinking down to 6'2" in the near future. But a 13-inch plate, so 13 by 10, covers like half of my upper torso. It looks stupid as hell. I have lungs hanging out of both sides, plus my general fucking broadness. I'm like, just don't shoot me in the heart, bro. That's all.
You don't make plates double XL.
So you have survived getting shot elsewhere, so.
But that was belly button level. There's nothing there. You know, it was all intestine, which I lost several feet of. Thanks. Long torso does not equal hanging gut. It just happens to also have a hanging gut. Two different things. That's not causality being... shut up.
That's armor of a sort, one could say.
Yeah, I got that. I got that actually.
Sure.
You've got your own meat shield.
Yeah, I have stopped 7.62 by 39. So
shit.
So I have side plates just to make it look like it's bigger than it is. It's fucking god-tarded.
What are those side plates rated?
So if we need a distraction, we
6.8 HE. No, they're level 1, I think.
So Jay.
What?
So if we need a distraction, we just turn to you.
Good luck. I'm not fucking running anywhere. But if somebody does have me in their sights and they use like standard ballistic windage, I'm totally not getting shot because there's no way I'm running 5 miles an hour in that fucking gear. Like when I make it the whole way and like they're like, you didn't get shot. I'm like, in all fairness, this is an extra 35 pounds and I wasn't going the standard 5 miles per hour. But also if they tried to scale me on ballistics, I'm not 5'10" either. And they're like, well, the standard shoulders are 18 inches. I got like 20. My shoulder to shoulder is 33 inches.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
No wonder you're a sponge.
Yeah. So it's
walking real.
Like I have to shoulder in in a doorway because they're 31 inches.
Those guys probably just screamed, "Go for the easy target."
Yeah. Like you wonder why I practice with a 308 for long distance shots.
No, I don't. I fully understand.
One,
my preferred method is also to reach out and touch somebody.
It's like I get a lot of shit like, oh yeah, well,
what about when it comes down to doing a 5-mile march? I'm like, first off, no. we're starting with a no, and we're going on from there. I'm not doing a 5-mile march. There's no call for a 5-mile march. Anything that does kick off from now on is going to be asymmetrical. It will not be you will not be marching down a road in America in a formation for an upcoming event. It will be guerrilla tactics. If you are dumb enough to group up in a large platoon and march on anything, it will be a war of attrition. Potshots will be taken at you from a couple hundred yards, and that's all they need. They don't even need to zero in on you because there's 37 of you idiots together. That bullet's going to hit somebody.
Right. If you're moving a mass troop, you're going to have some sort of vehicle.
So I absolutely suggest you work your ass off and you get healthy, and that's what I'm doing myself. I've been dieting for the greater part of the last 2 years, but I'm also a great big fat person that takes some time. Goddamn it! But I also can shoot you in the ass at 600 yards, so I do have that going for me.
I need to go buy a 308.
You need a 6.5. My God, those are. I shoot 308, and 6.5 is absolutely the way to go. Like every time I fire,
everybody's going to 6 mil now.
6.5 is like when I get home from shooting a 6.5, I call my guns faggots. It's a flatter shooting gun. Like after like about 300 yards, you can see the bullet because it takes so damn long to get there. You can see the drop of the bullet, and it's like, man, I just wish. But I'm the kind of fat where I'm prepared to fight a bear because everyone will run faster than me, and I know this. So I'm gonna fight the bear, which is cool because we're the same weight, so I got a pretty good, decent size like against the bear itself. But I know I'm gonna be the one getting eaten, so no one needs to shoot me with a fork.
Do you have large talons?
I have a little Ricky, which is a.
Yeah, Maynard's got a point. 6.5 isn't very common.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Which is why, like, I have NATO everything. Carry 9mm, shoot 223/5.56, and I have a 308. But my alternatives, I have an AR-15. I have several AR-15s. My alternative is I do have a Wazzer 10. I do carry. I do have guns in 7.62x39. I do have 45s, Glock 45s. Fuck you, they're still great. And also because I work with a police agency that shoots 40 cal, I have a Glock 22. Everything is planned for those contingencies. Now, if we get into a fight with someone who's shooting 5.45x27 or whatever, I'm gonna call everybody a dick and flick my fingers off until I die of it. But other than that, or what, 5.45x45? What is it?
5.45x39.
Is it 5.45x39?
Yeah, it's always 39, but it's the other number that changes.
Yeah. Well, I also have a 7.62x51R, just in case.
54R. Come on, man.
54R. 51. Yeah, 54R.
Come on, man.
Just in case. Just in case. I've tried to get all the major brands, and
now you get yourself a 303 Brit, you'll be set. Oh, and a 30-06. You need a 30-06.
What, a lever gun?
Boy, do I have an interesting story about lever gun. Yeah. Like at a certain point, you're just like, and then just in case, only hunters are left. I have this 7mm. But no, I tried to cover my bases, and I do have a plethora. Each gun has a minimum of 1,000 rounds, except my 22, which is down to like 400 rounds. God damn it, I haven't been able to find 22 in 2 years. But it's all expensive 22, so that's left. Like everything I have in 22 is suppressed. See, I don't go that far with a one chambered in every caliber. I have 3 Berettas and 2 Glocks in 9mm. I've got 2 Glocks in 40 caliber, 1 Glock in 45.
Yeah,
30.
I'm going to have to side with Jay on this. The problem with having one of everything is then you have to be proficient with one of everything. You do have some limitations.
Yeah. My AR and my my AR-15 and my AR-10 are set up the exact same way. Because it's an AR-10. And I have the same scopes on my Remington 700 that I do on my 308 SAS. So I try to conform as much as possible given my availability. Commonality is what I'm going for. My 9mm Glocks will all take the same mags, which you just max out on fun sticks, so you will have fun the whole time. Don't try to stick a 19 in a 17, but 33 round fun stick will go in anything.
As not a Glock aficionado, what is the 17?
The full size Glock 17 has a 17 round magazine.
But what caliber?
A 9mm.
Okay, so it is also a 9.
Yeah, the slightly smaller Glock 19 will take the 17 mags. It just sticks out a little bit. In 9mm. And then the final little baby Glock 26 will accept the full size magazines. So a Glock 17 mag will fit in all 3, but you can't do it in reverse because the mags are too short.
Gotcha.
So the fun stick will go in all 3. And my Berettas are basically, they're not the same, but they both use the same 92 FS mag.
And I'm going to be the weird guy out for this and say, do as I say, not as I do. Get yourself a Glock, because I hate Glocks, but everybody seems to do well enough with them. I'm personally going to roll out there with a Browning high power and take my chances. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Fun
G-Locks
stick. Front stick. Fun stick.
Basic bitch guns, but they're good basic bitch guns.
Mm-hmm. They're basic for a reason.
Yeah, basic. Like I don't care who you are, and Matt does it. Matt says it too. Everyone should own a Glock 19.
I hate them, but I can't disagree. I like my SIGs, but there's really no argument against owning a 19.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if you're one of these hardcore 1911 guys.
Oh man, they're so comfortable.
Oh, dude.
Plus, bonus War Club.
Yeah.
Jaeger
has a video. He went to Gunfight last week, and they did a 1911 course, and they were showing off the 1911s, and one of them had like titties on the grip.
And the other one was like a reproduction of the Cobra 1911. And the Remington with the titty grips, the thumb safety and the grip safety were just like pitted with rust from just carrying it for that weekend. And it's like, I don't know what Remington did, but fuck you, Remington.
Cheap iron.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheap coating, probably.
But yeah, Sean, I'm with you on this SIGs, especially if you get a good metal frame one, a 229, 226, 220, one of them. That's another fucking club that you can take to war.
Mine are ridiculously heavy, but they kind of need to be, considering the little one is a 40 cal or a 357 SIG, and then the 9 is just German police issue. So, you know, got to club some fuckers over the head. You can do it with that.
I initially didn't care for the grip angle of a Glock either, but you get over it real quick.
Yeah, I still prefer my original Colt 1911. Not that I have one, but I need one. But just using them, the way that they're gripped, the way that they're ergonomically designed, it's hard to be a bad shot with one. But the same can be said for Glocks for some reason, even though they're goofy as fuck. It's hard to be a bad shot with a Glock.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're side angling it like a douchebag.
Yeah, eat a dick, Larry Vickers.
You gonna get you some slightly radioactive sights on your 1911 or no?
I've got slightly radioactive sights on both my SIGs.
I don't think mine is. Mine is German made, so it's probably not.
My go-to-war gun would be a Beretta. Would be one of my Berettas if both of those goddamn guns didn't have fixed front sight.
Jay, just when I had a little bit of respect for you.
I can't because they're both fixed front sights. My I have a 92 FS which has white 3 dots, and my M9A1 is a fixed front sight.
That's fair. I mean, I have the
I spent $1,000 on that goddamn gun to have a fixed front sight.
But I have the Italian trade-in one. That's the heel release, so it's not even tactically practical per se.
It's fine. It's especially fine if
it's European. It's gay as fuck, but I love it.
Well, no, it's especially effective if you started training with guns after Black Hawk Down. I carry a dump pouch on all of my range gear. I have a dump pouch on my vest and I have a dump pouch on my belt. I will be retaining my magazines. And that is the perfect way to do it, is to
catch and
heel
release.
button. Yeah, catch and release. Bring up a magazine in your hand, press the button to drop the magazine into your palm, and load a magazine with your fingers.
I would agree with that.
But I don't know. Like, I appreciate speed loaders. Speed mag drops and quick exchanges. But I will be firing my gun until I get to cover. There will be some sort of cover involved before I ever need to change my magazines. But as soon as I do get to cover, I'm going to make sure my balls are still attached to my body, probably because they'll be inside me at that point. But then I will change magazines. Don't care how many bullets I got in there. What Glock finishes radioactive?
Never heard of that.
My because one of my Glocks, like, I got my 19, because like that was one of the first. It was the second pistol I bought. Is a Gen 3, but my everything after that is Gen 4. I don't know what my freaking 21 SF is. All I know is that it shouldn't even be called SF because they're all the same way now. Like, they're all short framed. But besides for my two Berettas and my Glock 21, those all need replacement night sights, but I can't do it to my Berettas. So palladium. No, my
Palladium isn't radioactive.
and my Glock is like it's called like NICU plating or something like that. What the hell is my Glock 22?
What does it degrade to? Oh, they have isotopes of palladium that are radioactive, but it isn't in its base form radioactive.
Parkerized.
As I say, I was gonna get worried there for a second. My wedding ring is palladium. I'm like, have I been wearing radioactivity for the last 10 years?
It would explain a lot.
NDLC coding. What the hell is NDLC?
M or N?
N. For some reason, it's a small n and a capital DLC.
No, it's some kind of nickel.
What does NDLC? Diamond like carbon. Can without DLC. Holy, they do not go into explaining what that is. Is my goddamn gun radioactive?
Yeah, wow. Palladium is actually worth more than platinum is right now. That's odd.
My wedding ring was tungsten carbide. It's really tough. My finger's bulletproof.
You might have had some valuable material sitting on your ring, or sitting on your finger.
Well, what's funny is I originally wanted a platinum ring, but they were so fucking retarded expensive. I went with palladium instead. Now that's reversed.
Go sell it in and get what you want.
No, I'm happy with what I have. Thank you.
This really, it doesn't explain what it is. The NDLC diamond-like carbon finish Glock is touted for having increased durability and resistance to wear and corrosion. You can instantly pick out a DLC-treated Glock that's slicker and more uniform. It doesn't explain what it is. And I literally typed in, what is NDLC coating? NDLC finish on barrels and slides. Glock's NDLC provides tougher, more durable protection. It doesn't say what it is. This glow-in-the-dark motherfuckers, just answer my goddamn question. Tenifer is not a coating. Here it is. Ferritic nitrocarbon burazing. That is not any of the letters in NDLC. I guess my gun is not going to get a sunburn? Oh, DLC is diamond-like carbon. And the end stands for...
Just realize that for real?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out what the N is.
Fair. But still. Jesus, man.
Cubic lattice, Lionsgate hexagonal lattice. Tetrahedral amorphous carbon. Point is, it's on my hip every day and I don't rest. Nigga.
Come on, man.
At home on Labor Day, Trump wages rambling attack on Biden. Man, they just will not give up on that shit.
Now, did he really say something stupid, or was it just something practical and they're just being assholes?
Yeah. They had they fact-checked Trump's Labor Day speech, and he's like, "We've arrested thousands of federal in federal detention for protesting and rioting." They're like, "Actually, it's 227." It's like, fucking close enough, assholes. It's going to be 1,000 in a week. Shut up.
Okay, so black magic, I'm looking this shit up. Most palladium is 100% stable. You have to have a weird ass isotope for it to be radioactive, and then the longest half-life is 107 raw, which is 6.5 times 10 to the 6th years, so that's forever. The next longest is 17 days. And then the rest of them are ridiculously short, like you mentioned, talking nanoseconds, seconds. 112 is basically a day. It's radioactive for a day.
That's hilarious. All your alarms go off to find out that it was like, oh, we already got all the way exposed. It only lasted 17 seconds. All right, so is a boycott cancel culture?
No, because there is redemption from a boycott.
Okay, so Trump says he's not a believer in cancel culture. Facts First says, thank you, CNN, for getting this correct. It's false for Trump to suggest he doesn't like cancel culture, considering how he himself explicitly advocates cancellations, boycotts, and firings on numerous associations. Yeah, he calls for boycotts. It's completely different. Then 18 Angry Democrats is the next lie that he says, when it's a proven fact that only 13 of the 17 lawyers for the Mueller investigation were registered Democrats. 13 out of 17. Think about that number.
Yeah, so four are in question and are anti-Trump.
Yep. Mueller investigation cost 32. Or wait. Trump says Mueller spent $48 million over the course of his investigation. The Facts First says actually cost $32 million. I'm like, that's not really a big difference. Go fuck yourself, CNN. Trump once again alleged that President Barack Obama and then Vice President Joe Biden had spied on his 2016 presidential campaign. This is comprehensively false. There is no evidence that Obama or Biden personally directed the FBI to fuck you, you lying bastards.
I say there absolutely is, in the fact that Joe Biden was the one who asked for the unmasking.
Yeah. Okay, now, Black Magic says rhinos. No, it's not Republicans in name only. The Republican Party is shit, man. I am a conservative. I want smaller government, less spending, them getting out of my way, and preserving the America that I grew up in, basically. And this war, I respect the troops. I love the troops. I would never do it myself, even though I spent a lot of time in, I did 4 years of ROTC in high school. I did Sea Cadet program, which was outside of schooling for the Navy. I actually attended boot camp for a Navy boot camp experience. I think what they do is amazing. I would never do it myself. That being said, I have a great respect for my military. I want them to be strong. I want them to go in, kick ass, and not be harmed in any way. I do not want prolonged wars with those people I respect that would lay down their lives for me to have to lay down their goddamn lives for me. So war-hungry Republicans, war-hungry warhawk Democrats, Republicans, fake fucking, I don't want them in my party. That's not my party. Trump is anti-war. Good, as am I. I don't want to see that shit. So if that makes me the Republican in name only, then that's fine with me. Small government, I don't want to be the world police. My father, actually, he served in the Army just after Vietnam. So he went in willingly, and he made sure none of his sons went in willingly. like you get drafted, we're not moving to Canada, but I don't want you going in if you don't have to. And I was also fat, so there is that. Trump's history of tariffs. Trump spending a long time touting his achievements against China, namely that the U.S. has taken in billions from China under his administration after previously never receiving so much as 10 cents. It's not true that the Treasury has never received 10 cents from China. The U.S. has had tariffs on China for more than 2 centuries. It's also misleading for Trump to suggest that the Chinese are paying for the tariffs. American importers make the tariff. This is semantics at best. But they don't give numbers, so it makes me think that when Nixon opened up relations with China, he was really light on the tariffs. But that's the same thing as charging a fine. That's like saying fining Aunt Jemima for having a racially themed sales pitch is that Aunt Jemima is paying the bill on that. Yeah, it's coming out of their pocket, which they're turning around and charging to the consumer. But it's still, where the fuck do you think business money comes from? Retards. Echoing comments he made in August, Trump calls Biden's plan for the Chinese virus, China virus, to shut down the entire U.S. economy. Biden has not announced any such plans for combating the corona pandemic, but has said he would be prepared to call for a shutdown if scientists recommended doing so. Yeah, that's fucking accurate as shit. Trump again claimed that he instituted a law that would send people to prison for 10 years if they tore down a monument or statue. The president's executive order doesn't create new laws or possibly simply directs the attorney general to enforce already existing laws. No, what it does is it enforces those laws on a federal level. Because, like in D.C., they're taking down statues ahead of time so that it doesn't offend anybody. But if you take down a statue in a city, that's a city law you're breaking. What Trump did is made it federal so that when the city's not going to charge you for it, the feds will. So while they might not have arrested 1,000 people yet, they probably have more than 1,000 people they're looking at arresting. Just all of these are so petty and bullshit. Trump said twice that NATO member countries were increasing their spending to $400 billion a year. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said during a meeting with Trump in December 3rd, 2019, that by 2024, non-U.S. members will have spent a total of $400 billion more on defense than they did in 2016. Not that they will be spending $400 million more a year. Okay. What the fuck ever. These are just so petty and stupid. Also, I'm not getting a vaccine. If one becomes available, I am not doing it. These are so petty. Fucking. They once fact checked when Trump said The burgers were stacked a mile high. How pedantic and petty do you have to be to actually fact check that statement? When you came home from being away from your children for 2 weeks, their smiles were in fact not ear to ear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless they had some Joker-esque type surgery, that would not be possible. Yes, your dog had surgery, and when he came out, and it had been a week since he'd seen you, he did not nearly take off the ground. His tail was wagging so fast. That is factually inaccurate.
Oh, now my house is sad.
Oh, shit. Hey, at least it was the quiet one. That's helpful to me.
Yeah.
How you doing, bud? You good?
I'm fine.
I'll lick your cheek if I need to.
I'll pass. Thanks, though.
Yeah. I called the cheek, so Garrett got to sniff your butt.
We still have one left. She takes care of that.
Well, like, how tall is a Big Mac burger? We say, what, like 3 inches? So 4 would take a feet. so 4 times 3 or 5,680. Is it 5,680 or 5,160? How long is a foot, or how long is a mile?
500 or 5,240 feet, I think.
No, that's wrong. I'm pretty sure 5, 6, and 8 are in the numbers.
5,280.
Damn it. The fucked up part is I know it's 1.6 kilometers. So 5,280 instead of 5. All right, so
It's a lot of goddamn burgers.
20,000 burgers.
Suck it, Trebek.
What?
Mike. Suck it, Trebek. Speaking of which, Alex Trebek has, I don't think he's beaten the cancer yet, but he's doing mightily well for somebody who had such a dire diagnosis.
Yeah. I'll take the rapist.
That's
I really enjoyed Tom Hanks on Black Jeopardy.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah. Like, that's how they get you. I'm like, yes. I got a guy down the street who'll change your tire, fix your cat, and your toaster for $20. I don't remember anything about Crack Panther. Do you?
I mean, besides it's terrible. I can't even remember the dude's name now.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman.
No, but do you remember him being called Crack Panther?
No.
For looking sickly?
No.
Mm. Me either. It must have been a Black Twitter thing or something.
Maybe. I don't know. He
came out of the blue for me.
Yeah, he did. He came out of the blue. And he was a decent actor. I'm not going to take that away from him. He did a pretty good job at his job, but I just don't understand the hero worship of this guy simply because he died with pancreatic cancer. Was it pancreatic or was it colon?
I think it was butt cancer. I believe he had ass cancer.
Yeah, I mean, the only celebrity deaths that really affect me, because I mean they're just people that do a job. So I don't believe in the hero worship, and it really pissed me off when Paul Walker blew the fuck up when he died. I'm like, who cares? He was doing stupid shit. You don't get hero worship for doing stupid shit. The only one that really affected me was Alan Rickman, and that's literally because nobody fucking knew. Plus, he did a lot of good work that I enjoyed.
Yeah, he was 71 too. So there. What's his name? Anton Yelchin kind of surprised me. Plus, holy shit, was that fucked up?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it was fucked up. But again, yeah, I was shocked by his death. But is he worthy of hero worship for it?
No. I enjoyed the Odd Thomas series by Dean Koontz.
Yeah.
And he had just finished the first one, so I was expecting more from him because it was a. So I really enjoy Steven Summers, as a director. Deep Rising is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. He did Van Helsing. Fuck you guys, I like that movie. Shut up. G.I. Joe, The Mummy. Like the good mummies, like 1 and 2. There was also 3. Again, fuck you guys. I am a big fan of his movies. He did the Odd Thomas, which big fan of the book series. There's probably 5 books that could have been made out of that series. It would have been great. I think Anton Yelchin did a great job, and then the way he died was literally being attacked by a fucking bodak. It was crazy.
Okay.
We good? Who's getting yelled at? So that it surprised me is what it did more than anything. He was like 28 or 29 or 32 maybe. Poor Chekhov. But it wasn't hero worship. It was just he was young. And that was a freaking fluke of a catastrophe that happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, accidents are going to happen, so I felt bad for him, but I mean, he wasn't really subjected to the hero worship though that like Paul Walker or Chadwick Boseman was.
Again, Paul Walker, relatively young guy.
Well, and I think it was a bunch of fangirls that obsessed over him about it. I'm like, I can't think of a starlet that died outside of Natalie Wood that the guys are all upset over if they die early. Like nobody gave a shit about what was that one chick that was the voice of whatever that died.
Was it
Brittany something?
Brittany Murphy.
Brittany Murphy. I mean, yeah, that made a blip on the screen, but no guys were like in week-long mourning like they were over fucking Paul Walker.
Do you know his first role was in Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex? It was him and Denise Richards, and he ended up becoming a robot dinosaur with the brain of a human implanted. Marilyn Monroe, that's a good one. She was idolized.
Yeah, okay, I could give you that one. That would be the only one I can think of. But I mean, then again, that happened after Kennedy died, and look what happened with that thing.
He's a president, though. I think it's the young that really gets people.
Well, Marilyn Monroe was what, in her late 30s, wasn't she?
Yeah, probably. Toxic mold? I thought she overdosed on pills. Heath Ledger was another one I was surprised by.
Well, yeah, and plus his last 2 movies were really good.
River Phoenix, I was bummed. Corey Haim, those bummed me, but yeah, I'm not worshiping them as heroes. But like, I like. All right, so have you guys seen Black Hole? It's
the Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie was like 90% real.
How do you figure? Like practical
Not
effects?
practical effects, yeah.
Yes.
Like the lights were there, like there were actual scenes. You've got oh my god, Ernest Borgnine. You've got an amazing cast of people, and 90% of that was real. Like you have to deal with some stuff with like the robots, like faking that they're floating instead of being on like a trolley or something like that.
Right.
But that was like that would be the acting I want to do. If I was to become an actor, it would be that or like Nothing But Trouble with Dan Aykroyd's clusterfuck of a fever dream. Like there was like 2 effects in that whole movie. Everything else was done practically. There literally was a tower, like the entrance gate was all crushed Cadillacs. That was really there. And like buses. And they had there's 2 practical effects. One was to make the property seem bigger than it was, and it was still fucking acres of shit that happened. There was like a real life roller coaster that was bought for like $15,000 that was connected into like all the things. Like, so 2 effects. One was the moat filled with water, and the other effect was the back of the house had more property behind it that was all junk piles and stuff like that, and fire. There was also fire. But other than that, that movie was entirely practical. To me, that's an actor, not James Cameron's bullshit where nothing is real except 2 actors in the room and everything else is green.
Right. I think the green screen thing has done something. And something I've noticed too in a lot of even TV, it goes down to TV shows. Like there has not been a natural setting, no matter how manufactured that natural setting is. Like you said, I should say practical rather than natural. But like there is no real sets anymore. There is no connection with physical reality in most movies and TV shows anymore.
Well, it's like 60% of that's wind.
Well, and yeah, like
it's also budgeting too, because man, versus shooting on location, you could just render a green screen and roll with it.
Yeah. Paramount had a city. Paramount went into a desert and built an entire city. And you could use a block. Like, I forget the name. Expendables. There's a scene in Expendables where there's a fight scene, and that city block is literally an entire block of fake buildings. And that's what they used to have. Like John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard, which had a lot of open air shots because it was a car driving. Actually had, like, they were stunt drivers. There's very few people now, like John Snyder and Tom Wopat. Wopat?
yes, Opat.
Were actual stunt drivers. They learned the stunts. Tom Cruise can fly a goddamn helicopter.
Pretty sure at this point Tom Cruise can probably fly an F-18.
Yeah,
or at least launch one off a carrier.
Yeah. He invests like what's his name? Keanu Reeves. He can fucking run and gun. He can manipulate. He can take apart and reassemble any damn gun you put in front of him because he did the actual work. Tom Cruise does the work. So Mummy, a movie I talked about earlier, not the Tom Cruise Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy. There is a scene in which he is fighting like 6 or 8 of Imhotep's guards, or the king's guards, somebody's guards. But the whole thing is absolutely fake. And he had a choreographed fight scene where he would kick the air, and that was supposed to be kicking off somebody's head. That shit is so stupid to me. Even though I love Brendan Fraser, I've met Brendan Fraser, I've sold him a camera that I really tried to give to him because he's Brendan fucking Fraser. Like, Or you do not have to give me $35. You could just love me forever, Brandon Fraser. I'll take that as payment.
Gay?
Not as Dean Cain gay, but it's so close. Like, if he had sex with my girlfriend, I'd want to know details. Was he as gentle as he looks? So, I just it's not it's a whole different thing now. It's lost something in like, could you imagine being on the set of Harlem Nights? Every black comedian, what's it called? Ever was in that goddamn movie.
Red Fox,
There was like
Arsenio
there
Hall,
was,
Eddie Murphy.
there was two who weren't
Della
because they're
Reese.
dead. Yeah, like there were fuckers from the 40s who only did silent comedy, who were bellhops and shit. Like that movie was an amazing triumph in black entertainment or whatever you want to call it. But it was such a great movie, and
Yeah, because it had a racial element to it, but it wasn't about race.
yeah, it just happened to be. It was a night in Harlem. They're all black in Harlem.
Yep.
Like that that was it, and it's a great movie. Quit firing that goddamn gun. Like, I love that movie.
Oh, you want to throw a garbage can at people? I fucking love Della Reese.
You sound thinking so quick. You sound thinking so.
I got to cut you now.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. Red Fox had this weird thing, like he couldn't see, but he could call dice before they landed. It was weird. Anyway, all of it was practical. But like, here you are in Guardians of the Galaxy. You're sitting in a chair that's an actual chair. Nothing else is real. Actually, I like Black from Past too. Christopher Walken is a crazy person. Pretty sure. Pretty damn sure. School Ties also good. I just if I'm gonna do a period piece, I need to be in, like, I'm not gonna fucking Daniel Day-Lewis and get scurvy because they didn't have oranges in 1863, which I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, well, not if you were on a British ship.
If you quit eating raccoons, because I'm pretty sure President Lincoln didn't eat a bunch of goddamn raccoons, you crazy person. But man, just some of that. They've taken the magic out of literally an industry that is based around magic. It's now pretending more than it is acting. You see it in like anyone who's too pretty. Like, I'll give credit to Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is a great actor. He has range. He's good. But pretty much most everybody else, it's like they are who they are. And it actually kind of bugged me. It's kind of funny. Brendan Fraser on Scrubs is too. Yeah, Brendan Fraser on Scrubs was Brandon Fraser on Scrubs. There was no acting. He is just a genuinely lovable guy who's very sweet and down to earth, and he fucking takes pictures all the goddamn time. That's who he is. But everybody else, like Jennifer Lawrence, I've never seen her not play Jennifer Lawrence. Kristen Stewart, never seen her not be Kristen Stewart. It's like, I'm sorry, what are you smelling? Why do you always have that face?
Well, I mean, then you got good actors like Ed Norton and Gary Oldman.
Oh, God, yeah. Those are both great actors.
Gary Oldman has range for days.
Yeah. I'm like, how is Gary Oldman playing a 6'2" bodybuilder? The guy's 5'5" and 71 years old.
Fucking Gary Oldman, that's why.
Yeah. Range. That's how much range. You didn't know this, but 3 of the women in the cast, he was them too.
Better than Glenn Close and Hook.
He's getting a little late tonight.
Oh my God, Glenn Close.
Are Are you leaving us, Swampy?
Yeah, I'm heading out. It's getting late.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too.
Gotta say bye.
Go on before he leaves, Hudson. Come on.
Nah, he's already gone.
Aw.
I'll tell him you said bye, Hudson.
Daddy, what's with my
What
stomach?
did I tell you? Be quiet.
I lost
Go ahead, Jay.
What was that line? Did she have a line? Did Glenn Close have a line in Hook? Dude, it took me like 10 minutes to realize who that was for that one freaking scene. But I realized it was Glenn Close, but
Yes, she does have a line or two.
yeah, it's like one line. I don't remember what it was though. I like Shmi. Oh damn, what's his name?
Oh shit.
He's dead too. He played Mario.
Yeah.
Anthony
No.
Anthony Hopkins? Tom Hopkins? Hodgkins? What's his name? Dennis Hopkins? No. Damn it.
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins. I'd have gotten there eventually. Yeah. I enjoyed him too. But like, and that's another thing. Like he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which aside from the cartoon, excuse me, everything else in that movie was 100% real. Like he was dealing with Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit, and then that little stint he did in Toontown. But other than that, it was a full freaking movie. I will raise you blast from the past or Encino Man with School Ties. Brendan Fraser played a Jew because that's what you cast to play Jews in Hollywood. It's gorgeous leading men that are not remotely Jewish. And then you get Matt Damon to pick fights with him and say mean things. But yeah, this green screen acting stuff is something that you can just feel it.
Well, you know what? Where I noticed it that it really started to bug me was shows like CSI. Like the original CSI was obviously set in Vegas, and they, for the most part, they did a good job. But as the series got longer and they started churching up the lab, and I'm like, no crime lab is going to be that dark, or have underfloor lighting or up lighting. You know, that just doesn't make for a good scientific environment. Not being able to see shit.
We like to observe things in our observable environments.
Right. So it started to bug me there, but then I realized I was looking back at some of the shows from like the 80s and before, like Murder, She Wrote. Like everything in those scenes, even if it's a set, is natural. Like the furniture makes sense. It's not trying to distract. It's not trying to be edgy or anything like that. It's just shit that would be there in the teleplay that they're putting on. And that doesn't happen in TV shows anymore. It's got to be its own fancy design and make a statement and set a mood, and it's really irritating.
Have you ever seen the Addams Family house from the original Addams Family with Sean Astin?
Yes.
Or John Astin, sorry.
Yes.
Have you
Sean's
seen
father.
it color? Yeah, have you seen it colorized?
Yeah, it's pink.
Yeah, because it's what plays best on the camera.
Right.
So you're looking at this dreary, mopey house that's supposed to like be like kind of like I don't want to say discomforting because that wasn't the point.
It was supposed to be macabre.
Yeah, it was supposed to be macabre, but it was just like the cheeriest goddamn place on earth.
Well, that would explain John Astin's mood. I mean,
yeah. Like just like the bear rug was pink. Like, it wasn't even a polar bear. It was a fucking pink rug.
yeah, like that takes a little bit of dealing with it, or just the patience of somebody playing opposite a talking horse. You know, that's got to be a long period. You know, oh, you need my shoulder in this shot the entire time. All right, let's take the fishing line and tickle the freaking horse's gums for the next 47 minutes.
Yeah.
But man, oh man.
But I mean, just all this fakeness, all this weightless, massless background and environment that acting is done in now just helps that disconnect from the really real world, which in some places is warranted. You know, I'm not saying that there's no use for it, but does it need to be in literally everything?
Yeah. Like when I heard that, I don't go to see movies in the movie theaters, but I went to see Mad Max Fury Road when I heard it was 90 plus practical effects.
Yeah,
90 plus percent.
Still haven't seen that one. I need to see that.
It wasn't great. But it wasn't something you would shit on compared to, you know, the other Mad Maxes that were 90 plus practical effects. Like all the vehicles were vehicles. You know, no one was sitting on milk cartons holding a steering wheel. You know, they were driving. yeah, Mel Gibson playing Ben Shapiro. That should be great. Never mind the height discrepancy. It'd be like the opposite of Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher. But yeah, like I said earlier, I will not shit on people who are bringing something genuinely new to something that has possibly become a stale medium. The new Chucky was very different from the old Child's Play.
It's more terrifying when it's a real doll.
Yeah, and it was a real doll.
In the new one?
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't computer animated.
Minimally, it was like it was mostly a person in a doll suit. Like there was some walking that was done because, you know, fucking midgets, but like
I'm
some
okay.
walking.
Well, hang on. Black Magic. I'm okay with a black female 007.
Okay, I was about to call you on it. No.
James Bond.
I completely agree. I am fine with a black female 007. 007 is a title. James Bond is a person.
Chucky was a My Buddy. And if you don't know what a My Buddy is, you need to Google and YouTube search the My Buddy commercials from the 80s.
My buddy and me.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was terrifying on a level different than Child's Play. So for those of you who haven't seen the new remake, he's not the possessed doll of a murder culty guy. They are now there's no evil involved. He is a Wi-Fi connected enhanced friend, basically, that has a version of artificial intelligence. And a disgruntled employee gets fired for whatever fucking reason. He has to finish out his day before he's terminated, and he takes off the safety parameters on this doll. And the doll no longer has the things that would stop a regular doll from harming people or anything like that. So this doll learns from his environment and imprints himself on this kid who basically teaches him that violence is sometimes necessary, and he ends up using electronics and a knife to kill people. pretty much.
I kind of like the first story better. It's more terrifying.
It's
The rogue AI non-Asimov inhibited robot is a thing that's already been done several times, and meh.
There's some. It's been done sometimes without like completely ignoring Asimov. Like 3 whats? Like, God damn it! That Detroit-based cyborg manufacturer doesn't give a shit.
Oh, and Black Magic. Yeah, I was never a fan of Daniel Craig as Bond. The movies are actually written fairly well, but I just cannot see him as Bond, as James Bond. It never sits well with me. Pierce Brosnan was born to be James Bond and finally got the opportunity, and you shall never be better than that.
No one gets fucked up more than Daniel Craig as James Bond, though.
True.
Like, I think maybe Pierce Brosnan got punched in the lip once. Like he had a bloody lip like one time. But other than that, like Pierce Brosnan, God, I did like him as James Bond.
Well, and that's the whole suspension of disbelief that you need to make those movies really enjoyable. I mean, there's a place for the action Bond that Daniel Craig did, but those could easily be Jason Bourne movies for all that they're worth. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but yeah. James Bond needs that superhero-esque quality of everything I touch just works out. So beating up James Bond kind of lessens James Bond, especially when you have the Bourne series that you could just do that same shit with. Whereas when Sean Connery did it and
Maynard Crowe says Roger Moore is king.
Roger Moore is the best Bond. I mean, he's not the most quintessential Bond, but he is the best Bond because they are campy as fuck.
Yeah, like tongue firmly in cheek. I'm going to play this character. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if Roger Moore snapped his fingers and it bra became undone. Because Q hooked him up like that. I think Timothy Dalton had the most tech out of any. Like, at one point, Q was in one of the movies and he was sweeping a pathway, and he turned the broom over and it was a fucking walkie-talkie. Like, you need that.
I try to forget that Timothy Dalton ever was Bond because he was the one who got the role instead of Pierce Brosnan when the time came.
Good.
That was a huge tactical error.
No, it wasn't. Those were the darkest Bond movies there were.
Darker than the current ones?
Yeah. What's the guy's name?
George Lazenby.
Felix.
Oh,
that's the one we forget. Is no Felix Lamplighter. Felix, the CIA guy. He was fed to sharks on his wedding night.
Yeah.
Or crocodiles or something. Anyways, he was literally eaten to death in the start of one of the Timothy Dalton Bond movies. So yeah, that would not have been Pierce Brosnan's. I'm glad Pierce Brosnan had the 4 that he had. 4?
At least 4.
GoldenEye. The World's Not Enough. Something About Tomorrow Being Today. The Day After Tomorrow.
Bond movies. Tomorrow Is Not Enough.
Tomorrow's Not Enough.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow
Never Dies. The World Is Not Enough.
Yeah, okay. 4.
GoldenEye. And Die Another Day. So we had 4.
Yeah. Christmas can come twice a year.
One moment, please.
Roger Moore played it campy, but it was still enjoyable. I kind of enjoyed Sean Connery's disdain for his environment. I like that aspect of Bond as an orphan. And Pierce Brosnan played Bond as if the tuxedo was a uniform.
Okay.
Only GoldenEye was great. The other two were not as good. There was three, but yeah, I can. The one with the henchman with the diamonds in his skin. That was the last one, and that was. I enjoyed like the effects and everything, but yeah, that one. Halle Berry as a Bond girl. Yeah. That one was over the top.
Best Bond movie is probably Never Say Never Again. It's the only one where Bond should have lost.
Never Say Never.
Oh no, not Never Say Never Again. It was View to a Kill. View to a Kill is the best one.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's it.
Not the best Bond song, although it was pretty good, but Christopher Walken should have won and sent Silicon Valley to the bottom of the bay. Plus, Tanya Roberts was... Oof.
Oh, Tanya Roberts. I just remember her from... she filmed some movie in Africa where she's naked like half the movie. It was still rated G. She was in Beastmaster. She was naked in Beastmaster, and that was rated G.
I mean, between Tanya Roberts or Jane Seymour, those are the two best Bond girls for certain.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Terry Hatcher as a Bond girl, gorgeous.
Yeah, but yeah.
I don't even like short hair, but on Terry Hatcher, beautiful.
She didn't play Dr. Christmas Jones, did she? Who played Dr. Christmas Jones?
That was Denise Richards.
Oh, it was Denise Richards, yeah.
The least believable doctor I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
I would have believed Bill S. Preston.
Yeah, the entire character was literally written for the ending joke.
Yeah, like Ted Theodore Logan would have made a more convincing doctor than Denise Richards.
Speaking of Bill and Ted's, I did see the new one.
I can't pay $25 to see that movie.
I did, and don't. It's just as good as Bogus Journey was, which isn't saying much.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. Steven, did you see House on Haunted Hill? And would you consider Femke Jensen, who played Zanyanata, a villain? Bussy Redhead Spectre agent in Thunderball. I don't know who that is.
Claudine Auger.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Isn't that the... No, it definitely wasn't. Because one of the Bond girls was a tranny, so...
That might be why he doesn't know the name. He was just trying for the...
Yeah.
Did she kill anybody? Did she even kill her husband? I mean, she was evil, but... You watch your mouth. Tanya Roberts was a beautiful thing.
No,
talking
but
shit about Tanya Roberts.
she was definitely the best looking Bond girl. Again, with Jane Seymour as the only contender.
I don't remember Jane Seymour in a Bond movie.
Yeah, she was in the first Roger Moore one, I believe.
Are you sure, Jane Seymour?
Yep.
Live and Let Die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't believe
And
Dr. Quinn.
she was young. And she looked fantastic.
Hold on, let's see if I can't pull up a picture of her. Oh, okay. I can see where you're going off.
Mm-hmm.
Those eyebrows. All right, you won me over.
Yeah, so it's between her and Tanya Roberts for certain as the best Bond girls. Yeah, Solitaire was the name of the chick she played.
I remember her. My mom's favorite movie was Somewhere in Time. And it was her and Christopher Reeves and Chris Plummer. I actually there's a movie coming out with her called The War with Grandpa, and it looks good. It's Robert De Niro is Grandpa, but yeah, you would think, but
No, I'm not giving that guy any money. Fuck him.
yeah. Basically, a kid he gets ousted from his room so his grandfather can move in, and he starts playing practical jokes on his grandpa, and his grandpa goes and complains to his friends, and his friends are Cheech Marin, Christopher Walken, and oh, the fuck's the other friend? Third friend. But it's basically a kid versus like this multiracial group of fucking jackasses. But it looks like it's a pretty good movie. But yeah, dude, fuck De Niro.
Mm-hmm.
Did she bring Jason back to life in Friday the 13th Part 7? If not, I don't want to hear it. Well, we did 2 hours of nonsense. That was nice.
3.
3 hours? Jeez. Oh, no wonder we were abandoned by Randall Fraggle.
We don't even have super chats to read. So, yeah.
I will talk about some bullshit movies.
We are been hardcore jaw jacking tonight. And I do have a hard stop here in a couple of minutes so I can get the kids down. They do have what accounts for school nowadays tomorrow. So,
yeah, we'll wrap it up and go into off hours chat if anybody wants to come in and talk about movies. I will throw up the information as I have to delay myself while talking about it. But here's the off hours. Feel free to come in, do a little hangout. And we'll wrap it up now. I do feel like talking about movies, so come the fuck on and we will talk about movies.
Awesome. Jump in, guys, and good night.
Good night.